It all started on an ordinary afternoon, dragging myself home from the gym sweat-soaked and bone-tired. I needed a shower bad. The house, a creaky old place on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon, was dead quiet. Just me alone in Rosewood Haven. I stepped inside, expecting the usual nobody home. My stepmother Clara and my cousin Lila were out, or so I thought. The silence wasn't new. It had clung to these walls ever since my father passed 5 years back. I'd grown used to the hush, the way it swallowed every sound but my own footsteps. Didn't bother me much. Life went on same as always. I headed straight for the bathroom, sweat still stinging my eyes. But I'd forgotten clean clothes. No big deal, I figured. Nobody's here. Why sweat it? I'd be done in minutes and they wouldn't be back for hours. I tossed my gym gear in a heap on the living room floor and hit the shower. The hot water was a godsend, washing away the ache of deadlifts and sprints. I lingered longer than usual, savoring the steam, the rare moment of peace. No rush. I had all the time in the world. Or so I thought. But time, that sly bastard, had other plans. I stepped out dripping wet, not a stitch on me, and ambled back to the living room, expecting the same empty stillness. Then I saw them. Clara and Lila perched on the couch, staring like they'd seen a ghost. My heart stopped cold. There they were in the same room where I'd left my clothes minutes ago. We froze, locked in a moment so awkward it burned. I hadn't expected anyone home, let alone to catch me bare as the day I was born. The silence stretched thick and unbearable. Their eyes held shock, sure, but something else flickered there too. Amusement maybe, or something darker. I couldn't speak. Just grabbed my clothes in a blind panic, cheeks blazing, and bolted to my room. Humiliation scorched through me hotter than the shower ever could. I slammed the door, locked it, and stood there heart pounding, trying to piece together what just happened. How could I be so careless? The shame was a living thing clawing at my guts. Even though Clara and Lila laughed it off later, that mortification never fully faded. It lingered, a bruise I couldn't stop pressing. A week crawled by, and I half convinced myself it was fine. Maybe they'd forgotten, or at least let it slide. It was just a dumb moment, right? Life had a way of smoothing over rough edges. But deep down, something gnawed at me. A tension hung in the air, unspoken, like a shadow that wouldn't quit. And the way Lila acted lately, too close, too familiar, made me wonder if they'd really moved on. I was holed up in my room, lost in a video game, the clatter of buttons and gunfire drowning out the world. The screen was my escape, a place where shame couldn't touch me. Then the door creaked open. Lila stood there, a mischievous grin curling her lips. She sauntered in, and I flashed a quick smile, expecting her to ramble about something trivial like always. But instead, she started teasing, her perfume sharp and sweet, like jasmine laced with sin filling the air. At first, it seemed harmless, the kind of playful jab we'd traded for years. But something was off. Her touch lingered too long, her fingers brushing my arm, my shoulder, like she was testing a line I didn't know existed. I wasn't ready for it. Thought maybe it was just cousin stuff, the way we'd roughhoused as kids. We'd always been tight, shared dumb jokes, wrestled over the remote, laughed till we couldn't breathe. That bond felt safe, solid. But now, as she leaned closer, her hand grazing my back, a chill crept up my spine. Her touches weren't aggressive, but they were deliberate, careful, like she was measuring my reaction. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted since that day in the living room. Maybe I was overthinking it. She was still Lila, my cousin, my family. But that unease wouldn't quit, a nagging voice whispering that things weren't the same. Was she imagining things, or was she trying to say something without words? Her laughter rang out as she teased me about my gaming skills, her hand resting on my arm. The room felt smaller, the air heavier like a storm was brewing. I tried to focus on the screen, but her presence pressed against me, impossible to ignore. It was like she was circling, hinting at something we hadn't dared name. Worse, I didn't know how to respond. Act normal like nothing had changed, or confront this thing head on, even if it meant wading into dangerous waters. As the days passed, I grew hyper-aware of every glance, every brush of her hand. Was this just Lila being Lila? Or was something deeper at play? Then it happened again. I was deep in a match, the game's chaos. My only refuge when I felt her hand on my thigh. I barely noticed at first, thought it was an accident. Lila always poked at me when I got too focused, trying to throw me off. But when it happened again, that unease turned sharp. The third time her hand lingered, deliberate, no mistaking it. My blood ran cold. I paused, the game shoved the controller aside and faced her. "What the hell?" Lila, my voice came out louder, sharper than I meant. Her grin faltered, that playful spark dimming. For the first time, I saw something else in her eyes, surprise, maybe hurt. The silence was suffocating. We'd always been close, bound by trust and easy laughter. But now, standing there, I felt a crack forming, a line crossed that couldn't be uncrossed. "What's going on?" she asked, breaking the quiet. Her smile returned, but it had an edge, a challenge, like she was daring me to say it out loud. Her eyes held no lightness now, only something I couldn't read. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "You need to forget what you saw that day," I said, firm, trying to cut through the tension. I wanted her to know we had to leave that moment behind, that it couldn't change us. She paused, then smirked, crossing her arms with a dramatic flourish. "Forget," she teased, raising an eyebrow. "How could I? I've never seen anything like that." "It's impressive, cousin. You're holding out on me." Her voice was light, but her words hit like a punch. She leaned in, her breath warm against my ear. "And Clara?" She said she wouldn't mind a closer look. Said my dad didn't measure up. "Ask her yourself." I staggered to the kitchen, heart racing, nearly tripping over my own feet. "Clara, what's she talking about? Did you say that?" My voice cracked, desperate. Clara looked at me, calm, but with a glint in her eye. She chuckled softly. "Oh, honey, she's not wrong. I'm 57 now, and believe it or not, I've never seen anything quite like it." Her voice was warm, but there was a hunger in it, a quiet resolve. Then she stepped closer, her gaze softening but heavy with meaning. "Come on, Jack. We're your family. We love you. We want you close. Don't shut us out." She sighed, her voice trembling. "It's been hard without your father. 5 years and I've carried it all alone. Some days I'm just lost. I need someone to lean on, someone who gets how much I miss him. Your father wanted us to stick together, to hold each other up." She looked away, gathering herself, then met my eyes again. "And Lila, she's 25 now. Young but struggling. No boyfriend, no close friends. She's lonely, Jack. She needs someone she can trust." Her hand gripped mine tight. "We don't ask much. I promise you'll feel it, the belonging. It's what we all need. What you need." Her eyes burned with a quiet intensity, and before I could react, she reached for my shirt. Her fingers were steady, slipping under the fabric, lifting it off. The air felt electric, charged with something I couldn't name. Her movements were gentle, but sure, like she was following an instinct she didn't fully understand. I stood frozen, mind racing. Her touch was soft, but it carried a weight that pinned me in place. Then she started on her own buttons, slow, deliberate. Each one undone felt like a step into a place we couldn't come back from. Her eyes never left mine, and my heart pounded, breath shallow. I was caught between shock and a dangerous curiosity. I couldn't move, couldn't break the spell. The room felt unreal, like we were suspended in a world where words didn't matter, only actions. I wanted to ask what was happening to understand this shift, but my voice was gone. All I could do was watch as she shed her layers, each movement deliberate, pulling me deeper into the moment. Time stretched and collapsed every second, heavy with meaning. Curiosity, doubt, fear, they churned inside me, but I couldn't look away. When she stood there, clothed only in the dim light of the room, something in me broke. The world paused, and all I could see was her every curve, every shadow drawing me in. It wasn't just desire, it was a need, raw and undeniable. My restraint crumbled, giving way to something primal, something I didn't recognize in myself. The space between us felt alive, magnetic, pulling me closer. I imagined my hands on her skin, the warmth, the connection. My pulse raced, breath ragged, the urge to close that gap overwhelming. The room faded, leaving just us locked in this moment. It wasn't just physical, it was deeper, a bond that felt fated, inevitable. Every choice I'd made led here to this. I wanted to touch her, to feel that spark ignite. We dove in, no hesitation, chasing desires we'd buried too long. The thrill was intoxicating, a rush that drowned out every warning. Caution, reason, they were gone, swept away by the need to feel alive, to claim this freedom. We moved forward, reckless, driven by excitement and defiance. Every touch, every moment felt right, like a truth we'd been denying. The consequences, they were shadows, distant and unreal. We were chasing a dream, a fleeting taste of something bigger than us. Each action felt necessary, like a part of us had finally broken free. And we ran with it, hearts open, minds blind to the cost.